Evander Kane was flipped from Edmonton to Vancouver.
I know that, like, it's money and it's maybe he took too many penalties. They're going to miss that guy, man. Like,
Yeah.
he was a good player. Like, I know he missed a lot of time with the injury, but you go to other than, like, McDavid and Draisaitl and then RNH Hyman, like, he was right up there with those guys. And a lot of the playoff series, he was right behind McDavid and Draisaitl, like, potting goals and being feisty and standing up to the bullies on the other team. Like, he was a big part of it, man. They're going to miss that guy. There's just no question.
He's a unique player for sure. But I think there is sometimes with him, my biggest worry is I think there is an expiration date with him. Like, I don't know. Like, again, it all looked great against Dallas. It looked good against Vegas. But then when you, like I say, you love the guy when he's doing great things. And you can't do great things all the time. But at some point, I think you're looking at, okay, this guy's rolling in a Lamborghini and then you're taking 2 penalties in the first period in the Stanley Cup final. You're like, at some point, not to mention they do need the cap flexibility. And I think he's just a victim of that. And my understanding is they're going to trade Arvidsson too. So that's $4 million. Like, they're trying to free up money to pay. Obviously, they got to pay the guys who are going to get raises, but they made some mistakes last year. And, they're going to get out from underneath them, and they got to start again to bring in players to – I really think they do need a player to play with Draisaitl, a top 6 forward to play with Draisaitl, not just makeshift people, like somebody who is good enough to keep up to him or good enough to have chemistry with him. Kane, you're right. I think they're going to miss him, but I think it also might be just a different attitude and just a different look. That's,
Yeah, and listen, the flip side of it is Vancouver, which – they take on the full contract. He's got a year left at 5.4 or $5.5 million.
Yeah, like 5.5.
They gave up a 4th-round pick. It's basically a salary dump. But Kane, he has had a lot of injury issues. They don't have a lot of cap space out there. There's not a lot of flexibility in Vancouver. So if you're going to take him, is that your only move? Like, does this basically signal that Besser's definitely gone? And if so, what else are you going to add? Because Kane can score when he's healthy, but he needs help, to do that. He's not a one-man scoring machine. And from Vancouver's perspective, I would think Adam Foote likes the way that this guy plays because he is, like, he's genuinely tough, man. Like, Evander Kane does not mess around. Like, he can beat the hell out of basically anyone in the league. He will fight literally anybody. He's tough. He plays tough. He's been around. He's a veteran. But Vancouver, I'm are they a playoff team next year? I'm not sure. And
it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. It's like if you said what are they next year, I don't know if anybody knows that, man.
Exactly, and I don't think this changed it one way or the other. Where, like, obviously this would signal to me they think they can make the playoffs, and they want to, because why else would you bring in Kane without the expectation that he's going to help you play playoff hockey? That's where he shines, I think, the most. So from Vancouver's perspective, this would signal we got to get the band back together. We got to get back in the playoffs.
Well,
we got to find a way to do that.
Here's something that was said to me. Vancouver had a gong show on their hands last year in the dressing room. Had to get rid of JT Miller.
I know, but
bring in Evander Kane in the exact same spot. Like,
that's a weird one, but I don't know.
That's the cynic in me going, listen, I think Evander Kane's a unicorn. I've said that a million times. There's Brady Tkachuk, there's Tom Wilson, there's Evander Kane. Guys who can, kind of those 5-tool guys that do it all because they can fight too. But Kane has some baggage. You're not hiding from that. It's well documented. But he is a hell of a player. But isn't Vancouver trying to clean up like certain, maybe just you got to get that Pettersson going. Quinn Hughes, what are you doing? Like, maybe it says to Quinn Hughes, like, we're not throwing in the towel. We're adding players. We're trying to get better. We're going to be a playoff team because we want you to stay. We're not going to put a rebuild in here when you're in your prime.
That's
that Pettersson. That Pettersson. Like, if we did some kind of list next year in training camp, like most fascinating starts to watch players in the NHL, Pettersson would have to be at the top or close to it.
Very, very high on that list.
Like, what are you, and what are you going to be this year? I'll be tuning into Canucks games because I can't wait to see what he's going to morph into next year.
Yeah, and it's mandatory that he's a star. Like, he's supposed to be a superstar, and the fact that that's up for debate really symbolizes the season that they've had. But yes, I do think Vancouver and their ownership, the reputation of their owner has always been not accepting rebuilds, not accepting missing the playoffs, do whatever you have to get in. And this would suggest they're continuing to push down that road.